online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your number one source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Dang. You were right. So we love Sam Smith on this show.
Obviously, you think? Okay. Yeah, so we're not talking about love, kind of, sort of. We are talking about love, right? Because we're talking about MTV Virgin Territory, episode number 8. Yeah, so we're on episode number 8. So thank you guys for watching, for listening on iTunes and watching on YouTube, AfterBuzz TV. And I am your host, Madison Chase Fitness. Your trainer to the stars and the star in you, because I feel like there is power in your choices. And one of my choices is being a virgin until marriage. Yeah, so I'm the no sex till marriage expert. And sitting next to me, and hopefully that won't be for too much longer.
I know.
Yeah,
is Stephanie Giorgi, Steffi G, your girl.
I love it, Steffi G, your girl. I feel like you should be a rapper, Steffi.
You know, some people, I'm producing right now a spoken word that I'll let you.
That.
I don't rap, but
it's
kind of poetry, but yeah, I guess a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's like a modern day rapper.
I think I could try doing it.
Yeah.
Because I can't sing, but
the raspy, like, kind of sexy.
I wish it would be like, I wish I could sound like Jessie J, or like, you know, because she has that too, and I'm like, oh, I can't.
I think you can. We have to get you some
voice lessons.
Yeah. I couldn't teach you, but we could try.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna start with talking about this episode 8. So David, we got 2 new virgins to the show, but David is the first one that they kind of started the show with, and he disappointed me a little bit. Like, I felt like it. I think she was kind of nice about saying, you put me in the friend zone,
right? But
you didn't have to do it when all of your friends are around. Like, that's not cool. Like, come on, David, don't do that, David. There he is.
Also, and David is very, it's one of those typical inexperienced things. What he's going through right now is kind of something that I went through in middle school. I really had a crush on someone. I liked him and I wanted to date them, pretty much just to date them.
That's a good point.
And then what happens? You date them and you're like, oh, I don't really like you anymore. Right. And that was me from like 6th grade to senior year of high school. Like every 2 weeks, I was like, I'm over it.
That is a good point, because I was like, why is he? But it is very immature. And he is very immature, because he said, I had my first dating experience, which it was like an experience, because it wasn't like they dated. It was like maybe 2-3 dates. And even their conversation was still like, it didn't progress.
Yeah. Talk about late blooming, because
he totally is like a late bloomer. So I definitely feel like he needs to like take notes. But if you're gonna put somebody in the friend zone, I think he's gonna end up with his best friend, the girl that actually drove him on the date.
Yeah, that would make more sense. And I still think that, and I know that I'm going to sound rude when I say this, because Braylee, when she was on here, she was saying how,
I think I'm going to agree with you, but go ahead.
Right. She was saying how, no, he's just a nice boy. He's just a nice boy. I do think that he possibly could be confused. Only because he is a good guy. So I know that he wasn't just going to take advantage of Kyra and be like, yeah, I'm going to do it. But the way that he's processing it right now is very like, oh, I don't think I like you. And that's what it is. And he's just eager to have something. And I do think that he was raised where he didn't think, there's a lot of people, like, I'm a sexual person. I grew up like thinking about that, but there are plenty of other kids who don't think about sex, who don't think about all those kinds of things. He's not thinking about whether he likes a boy or a girl. He was just growing up. It didn't matter.
Right.
So I think it's possible, because everyone tries to say, no, you know if you are or you're not. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that would probably be a conversation he could have with Alec, who actually came out on this episode. That, because when you look at kind of like their mannerisms, they're very similar in the sense that
absolutely
he's not, I feel like he doesn't. You're right. I feel like he may not like girls.
Maybe.
Possibly. Yeah.
And again, it all comes with experience. David is great. Who knows? Maybe he will meet a girl that will bring out this side of him that he hasn't seen yet. Right. But I think it's a possibility that because he's doesn't have the experience, that's the reason why he could very possibly be confused.
And I think the confusion could come from like he's romanticizing like what a relationship should be.
It's the idea of.
It's the idea of feeding each other's chocolate, strawberries, and going on dates. But even when they have conversations, like the conversations are not about anything,
and they're very difficult.
And they're very difficult to have. So
yes.
Yeah, he definitely needs to date more and probably different kinds of women. But I think
about your best friend.
I think he should go out with his best friend, David. I think you should go out with your best friend. Yeah. And then for them to say he friend zoned her, I was like, is that a term? Like
friend zone?
Friend zoned.
Oh, absolutely.
Friend zoned her. I'm like, oh, that's different.
It's a term between opposite sex.
Right.
Because, or I guess whoever, I guess it could be the friend zone also if you're like gay or lesbian or whatever. But, no, yeah. I mean, that's what I have. I have a lot of people who guys have always told me, Stephanie, don't be naive. Like you swear like guys just want to be your friend just to be your friend. Like that's not how it works.
They want to.
And I'm like, nah, they do. We're just friends. We're just friends. And I guess it's true. And then that's why I always had to tell like someone, I was like, well, you know what? Don't worry about it. Regardless of me being naive or not, it's not like I have to turn away every man because I was like, no, you just want me for something else. No, you have to put them in the friend zone. And ultimately you're the choice in it. And it is what it is.
Yeah. And one of the things that struck me too is that she said that she wanted honesty, but then when he gave it to her,
I like how she was approaching everything very good.
Yeah, I think she was a little offended. Like that was the first time I was like, okay, get some balls. Like she was like, you didn't have to do it in public. I was like, okay, go ahead, Cairo, let him have it in a nice way. She did it in a very nice way. Like, so the question is, do people really want honesty in relationships and friendships? Because sometimes that's a hard thing to even say, like, my perception and your perception, like the truth does really hurt sometimes. So.
It does, but I think honesty is the best policy because at the same end, would you rather it blow up into something that was completely unnecessary just for the lack of you verbalizing? Right. You know how you feel, and it is what it is. And when you talk more, that's how you learn more, you grow more. When people argue, it's a means of getting to know each other. That's how you grow as a person because then you learn that experience. If you're lying about everything, then you're in a black and white place when no, there's gray. Yeah. So.
And I think conflict resolution is something that most people don't really embrace.
I've had to learn that because I don't shut the F up. I don't shut up.
And then you're passionate.
And I'm passionate. So like I feel like I grew up a little quicker, but just because I was always talking. People who stay quiet,
don't get it and don't get what they want.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So we could talk about the next young lady, Marjorie.
The hater.
Yes, Marge.
No, Majority.
Well, she says Marjorie, but she goes by Marge.
Oh, it is Marjorie.
Yeah.
Oh,
Marjorie.
okay, Marge. She's cool, but Iago.
Iago. Yeah. Iago.
Was right. Yeah. Sorry. He was right.
He was
you
totally
were
right.
acting like you were 16. You were very young. She's very, very, very young. It's very evident that like the moment like she comes onto the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, the animal print everywhere is like.
Is that like immature, the animal print?
No, I looked at yours. I'm like, you got animal print on right now.
Hold on. But I think it like you can't do.
It's not immature, but I'm saying it just reminds me of a type of person. But dang, okay, I know what I said was dumb. Sorry.
No, but it's okay. But it's just a lot of animal print. I think
it was just cracking me up. She has a very it's like a Jersey type girl. She's in Florida, kind of a thing. The things that cracks me up about her is that. She is thinking young because I feel like she's more focused on attention rather than anything else. Yeah. Because she has a little mouth on her, but that's because she's used to conflict and she's used to dealing with females. Yes. And the way that she approached Katya, like, it's just one of those things where it's like, don't worry about her. Right. Let her talk, let her flirt. Right. And then for her to come at her the way that she did, I understand. But like, one, the way she did it in front of everybody,
it was unnecessary.
Was embarrassing, not for Katya. It was for her.
Yeah, totally.
I'm like, you just made yourself look so dumb because you spoke for no reason. That's not your man.
Exactly.
And then when you're like, why are you giving me attitude? When she was so soft spoken, she had no attitude. She was being totally composed.
Right.
And she was like you see. Oh, don't call me honey. Don't. Why?
What?
She didn't. You just said that she was acting like a bitch.
Right.
How
she called you honey.
But it's okay for you to call her a bitch because that's offensive to a lot of people.
And honey can be too, but I think she tried to defuse it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because she had to be sensitive because clearly she was being oversensitive.
Yeah, she was totally being oversensitive. But so speaking of like girl code, like I have this associate of mine, and being friends with someone's ex, like especially when we do the same thing. So in her mind, like I think people, especially young people too, like we we're obsessive about people, or like wanting to like put them in this little box and only I can talk to them. Like, first of all, you're not dating him. You haven't established anything. So if he wants to flirt with Katia, let him flirt with Katia, because you haven't established anything. But I think even grown women do that, especially single women in Los Angeles.
Yes, there are specific grown women that I'm like, what? Yo, fall back. You are a grown woman. Quit acting like that.
Yes, I totally agree. But I think that's like some girl code, like you're not supposed to talk to...
No, it's not a girl. First of all, had we had a girl code, I wish it was more like guy code, where guys try to look out, you know?
Totally.
The whole I mean, not that this is okay, but the whole keep it to the grave thing, at least like...
Right.
At least they know not to, because they're not dramatic.
Yes,
women,
and emotional.
Right.
Yeah.
And women, I think that at the end of the day, we should look out for each other, and you should be proud of yourself. You should respect yourself. And when I say proud of yourself, meaning if he doesn't want to talk to you, then he doesn't want to talk to you. Why would you ever want to look like that girl?
Yeah.
If you want to be upset about it, but do it appropriately. Like, for instance, I would understand if it was something new.
Right.
Like for you to be like, no, you don't even know him, so why are you talking to him?
Right.
Like, your loyalty's with me.
Right.
If the relationship was like for 3 years and then they break up, that's different, because they very may well have developed a relationship. As long as they're not doing anything to be hurtful and like behind someone's back, like,
and
don't
that
be
was
dirty.
The thing. Like we have the same profession. Like, he's a trainer, I'm a trainer, so why would I not talk to him? And and to me,
and because you're not in middle school,
and
like,
we're not in middle school, but she's a grown 30-plus-year-old woman. I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't talk to your ex, and we're in public. It'd be different if we were like at her house and we went to your bedroom and I'm talking to your ex. I'm like, we are in public. Like, are you that insecure that you think that I'm going to? First of all, if your ex sleeps with one of your friends, be mad at both of them.
right.
But that never even occurred. We were just having a conversation. I was like, are you really tripping?
Here's the thing about with you, and then I've noticed this. I remember this one girl, and when I was living in Virginia, it was this girl. She was so silly to me because she wanted to make all the other girls like her, because she was a little bit of a slut and she slept around and she loved the attention, always like demanded it from everyone. Right. And I could see that, like, with one of the girls that was
Katia.
No.
Because that's kind of what she was saying. That she was like, she said she's a hoe, she's a known hoe, and so why is she talking to?
But she's getting mad for different reasons as far as attention goes, and she's like, oh, well, maybe Iago will talk to her because she'll actually give him some. Sex. Don't worry about it. Then that's on you. Right. That's on you. Yeah. Sorry. But this girl, I remember when another girl had mentioned, she was like, oh yeah, I'm a virgin. She's like, oh, why? And like, you should, she didn't like that. I think that for you, because you're grown, that woman's probably envious, because men will look at you and be like, oh, she's a virgin. You're untouched territory. Right. That's wonderful. And a lot of men want that. That's something to be so respected. And like, I praise you for it. Right. I mean, I come from a culture where I should have been in your position. Right. You know, I should have waited and I should have done all these things, but I didn't. And that's fine. Whatever. I've accepted who I am. Right. I don't think I'm a hoe. You can think I'm a hoe, but that's on you. And I know me. Right. So I think it's silly when I could imagine women being around you and being intimidated because you have much more to offer than some of them do, and that's sometimes. But but again, this is, be proud of yourself. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Oh, the girl, please. Let it go.
Yeah, exactly. No. Like, but I meant like for that girl to have known that, like, you're professional.
And she knew that. And I was like, are you seriously? First of all, I will be nobody's second chick on the side. Like, I don't do leftovers.
And what makes you think that if you have morals enough to not like to sleep with anybody that you're gonna be like that.
Yes.
Like they're
but I think
their
people,
judgment of character's off.
and I also think people, like, that's something she would do. Because I know for the
That's
guy that
why.
she was concerned about me talking to, she actually talked to his cousin. So
It takes one to know one.
Exactly. A thief thinks everybody steals. So I'm like, you think I'm like you, but I'm not.
Exactly.
So you did that, so you're making an assumption that I did that. But I won't do that because I don't.
Exactly.
Okay, so we got 2 new people to Virgin Territory, Kiara, and we'll talk about Kiara. There she is. So
she was funny.
Yeah, she was funny. I thought she was really funny, and I also love the relationship that her and her mom have. Like
I love the dynamic of their entire family.
Yeah, it was cute. Like, you laughed the most, I think, when you watched her episode. Yeah,
because she was like real and. She
Not a
wasn't.
prude.
Yeah, she wasn't a prude.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you could hear some of her immaturities, but that's acceptable. Those are acceptable immaturities because you don't know yet. I did appreciate the relationship between her and her mother because that's how your kids stay safe.
Yep.
That's how they don't.
By talking about it.
And then it was like, it made me laugh though. Her poor dad. Oh my God, her poor dad. And he was like, what? Oh. And he's like, he got the camera in his face. He's like, I know I got to be a good father right now. Like, I got everybody watching me, but ooh. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he was like, you're going to have too many moments, but you're going to be by yourself. So why do you need to know? But I love that her mom and her had a conversation before they actually went to Planned Parenthood.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, that's so
That's
great.
some type of stuff that you see in TV shows.
Yeah, not in real life.
Not in real life.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like it was real. Do you feel like it was kind of like put on for the cameras?
I mean, it could have. I know that for reality shows, and especially with MTV, the producers edit and they, it's like they give you an event to go through, like, oh, or maybe they offer the idea.
Right.
They make it happen, if you will. But regardless, they still did it. That was smart. That was cool. And especially if she didn't know it, because her sister knew. That was even more funny.
I was like, I wonder if the sister's younger or older. I couldn't really tell.
I couldn't tell either.
You couldn't tell either? Okay, because I'm like, that's interesting, because the sister knew. So what we're talking about, if you're not watching, we're talking about condoms. So Kiara and her mom went to Planned Parenthood, and they talked about condoms, female condoms, chlamydia, gonorrhea. But her younger sister at the dinner table was talking about the female condom.
She was like, it's a condom where like you put it inside and then it expands so that it covers the walls. And they're like, what?
The walls.
The walls, exactly. Then I'm like, why are you using like doctor terms? I'm like, okay, scholar. Like, I mean, not really scholar, but as far as how they were taking it, because they're not used to stuff like that coming from her, I'm assuming. Yes. So no, that was hilarious.
I thought it was hilarious. And then her putting the condom on the
corn. Oh no. And they're like, we're gonna need a magnum for this one.
It's a big one. It's a big one. I was like, wow, okay, mama. And the daddy was like, I've lost my appetite.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm sad that corn went to waste.
I know.
I was like, that was good. Everything at that table looked delicious.
I know, except for those biscuits.
You don't do biscuits?
I mean, I do sometimes from Church's Chicken. Have you had those biscuits?
The only ones of my life. Oh my, I cannot believe you just said Church's Chickens.
Those biscuits.
I never knew what a Popeyes was. I never went to a KFC. I'm from San Diego. There's Matt Church's Chickens in San Isidro. Y'all know where that's at.
Shut up.
I grew up always. Their mashed potatoes and gravy is on point.
Their fried okra is incredible. I'm like, they are using that chicken grease.
Church's Chicken. Yep. Here,
you know what?
Churches, I hope you heard that. We just gave you
heard that. We gave you a shout out. That was actually my first commercial that I did. It was a Church's Blue Box commercial. I was doing it. They was like, can you do a cartwheel? I was like, oh wow, this is so racist.
This is so racist.
I'm doing a cartwheel for some chicken. But I did it and I got paid.
I would have done the cartwheel too.
Because those biscuits are off the chain. Marissa, have you ever tried the chicken?
Nope.
Are you inspired to try it?
Nope. I kind of lost my appetite after all that.
Oh no, the biscuits.
It's
biscuits, so good.
yeah.
You see, I also like biscuits and gravy.
Well, see, I'm not a big
Love
fan of
biscuits and
gravy.
gravy,
Do you really?
I was introduced to it for the first time. Shout out to Selena Thomas. She is Carragher. She was my old roommate. She used to make the bombest biscuits
Where
and
is
gravy.
she from?
Virginia, originally, yeah. I'm pretty sure. Oh my God, it was the best.
Yeah.
Anyways, biscuits.
Yeah, I know. We're talking about biscuits. Okay, so she is new, and yeah, I love the open relationship that her and her mom have. I think it's great. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of her story. Now she meets the guy. I think his name was Cairo.
No, Quran.
I don't know. Starts with a C, y'all. But
Someone.
Yeah, he's a little cutie. He was a little cutie, but I hope
She's gonna let him go down for 5 hours too.
now that was.
I wanted to be like, you lying.
5 hours.
I know for a fact it was 45 minutes.
Right, maybe 20.
Maybe
45.
20. Exactly. Even 45 is a lot. She said
That's
5 hours.
5
I can't believe no one called her out.
Yeah, they were
Like,
they
you
just
lying.
kept listening.
Unless it's one of those things where it's like they have nothing else to do and the guy just wants vagina. That's what he's getting.
5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think she said her mom, I love that her mom was like, be careful the next time, because if that happens, somebody might not be as nice and be like, you gonna do, I've been down here for 5 hours.
Yep.
You gonna do the rest.
Yep.
Or you gonna reciprocate.
Exactly.
One of the two. Like, it's not gonna be that simple.
Yeah,
like, come
be
on,
careful.
Kiara. So be careful. And now the condoms and she was talking about birth control too, which I thought was interesting. She really wants to be prepared, because that was definitely not.
I think that really is for a lot
of
of people though. That's why they're scared of having sex. It's simply like, yeah, that's
STDs,
real.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, and I'm sorry, but in Los Angeles, like the stories that I've heard.
You've heard some stories.
Yes,
Yeah.
and like this one person who has herpes,
Oh,
but doesn't tell nobody because herpes only is how do you say when you can
when you get a flare up,
yeah, that's the only time that
you
it's
could transmit it to
transmit
somebody.
it if it's like flared at that moment. If
Oh
it's
my
not, you
gosh.
can't. But that's why, like, and this person was like, yeah, and she won't tell anybody, and I'm like,
That's terrible.
and she likes to F with no condoms. That's why
So,
she's
fellas,
scared.
Yeah, be careful. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in LA. Yeah, and or maybe you should do it with the lights on.
In LA, especially because there's so many artists here, everybody F's with everybody, boy or girl. Everybody's bi. Everybody's like, sound like, oh man.
Is that what's happening in these streets? Because I didn't know. You said everybody.
I was in the neighborhood last night. I was like, oh my God.
Where's the neighborhood?
West Hollywood.
Oh, okay, I was like, the neighborhood. I've been to, what's the really hot club?
Abby.
Yes, I've
The
been there one
Abbey,
time. I
yeah.
was like, oh, yes, cutie pie. Okay, so let's talk about our last virgin, Alec. You were in tears when you talked
I
about
was
Alec.
in tears,
We
like
love you,
real
little Alec.
tears.
Yeah, I feel like his story has been like the most honest.
Nothing
Portrayal,
extra
yeah.
because he did it well. It was very, yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah,
and I'm happy that he was able to come out like this way also.
Yeah, that's true too, because
He did it on camera, but nothing was posted yet, so it was all private. No one knew. He was confessing to like a log, like a camera, like a web.
Yes.
What he's doing, that's it.
Yeah.
No one had seen it. That was crazy. And people forget, like, I remember this one when I was called homo ignorant. They're like, there are plenty of people who know what they're doing, and they called me homo ignorant because I was like, no, there's path. It's like, there's no path. I'm like, there is a path. That is a path right there. This
Yep.
boy, Alec he said he's always known and he's tried, and that's why there's like, that's the thing about what's so sad about people being oppressed or maybe not knowing, or why it is natural for people to think otherwise, because he said he would try to trick his mind.
Yeah.
Like that's it's too bad, you know. And for a lot of people, I think that they're raised maybe having the surroundings, people knowing, or excuse me, where it is accepted. But regardless of it being accepted, I think that some people just didn't want to be that.
Yeah, they don't want to be ostracized.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. My best friend in high school is gay, and he said that he actually had sex with a girl, I think, in high school, and he said it was too gushy, and I was like, that's interesting, because I think it's supposed to be. But he said that he
Especially
knew
because you better put it somewhere else
Right.
later.
But he said that he knew when he was 5 that he was gay.
So many
Yeah.
of my he said he knew his like, because you get like a different type of attraction, and like
Yes.
and I'm assuming you see things differently.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird. That's a lot. Like, awesome that he went to that support group, because I could
do
only
too. I
imagine
think
like
it was
trying
called
to
One
identify
Voice,
yourself.
One Voice Community, and I thought it was great that they have support groups. I think virgins need support groups too, because sometimes it's hard to like know the steps. Like, I feel like David needs some support. Like, other
Yes.
than his friends, like, you need some support on like how to walk that road of
how to be a virgin and be cool with it.
And be cool with it, because he's so not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish that I wish they would have that like in high schools and stuff, because I think I pushed myself to not, like I said, that one of the prior episodes, I was like, I wanted to, because I felt like I wasn't being understood, and I'm so curious.
Right.
I just was wondering, but it wasn't necessary. And even though I know a lot of people who do it younger. I was pretty young. I was like 18, but
That's still older than most.
Right, but I still don't think I was ready.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
So,
I do not think I was ready for it.
What age do you think you would have been ready for it?
Well, I don't know, because then I met someone where, well, maybe when I met like the initial one that that changed my life sexually and everything.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think it doesn't matter. I think I could have gone without. I think that having had sex has made me understand and see people differently, because I'm thinking of the sexual part, which it's like one of those things where I wish I didn't. It's, the ignorance is bliss kind of a thing.
Right.
I wish I didn't have to see it that way, but I do. I see it from all sides. And so now I peep everything out when I'd rather not.
Really? Like, so you're saying you peep everything out, like after you meet someone
Yeah,
new.
just like, and men, like after having that experience, I do see why men are so curious. Like, it's a thing for guys to just look at a girl and be like, imagine, I wonder what her nipples look like.
Right.
You know? And you just, you don't have to be accepted of it, but it's just what's going on.
Right.
So I'm happy that because I understand the sex part, like I don't get so offended.
Right.
As long as they keep their boundaries. Like for me, you can think everything you want to think of, but the second you start verbalizing and acting upon it, that's when it's wrong.
Right. When it's disrespectful.
When it's disrespectful,
Yeah.
when you've gone too far, because everything else is natural. We are people. We are human.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see how after having sex, it would like change your perception of being curious about somebody.
Yes, but you're a very good example, because I like that. I feel like sometimes there's some virgins from a certain age where you could almost guess that they were because of how they are. But you are very. Like, you're cool, she fly. I'm like, dang, I really could have waited.
Right, but
I probably could have been just as fly but that's what it is.
I love it. But you know what it is too? I think being exposed and being very independent, like I was exposed at an early age to like feeling comfortable with my body. And I think that's different too. Like when we look at somebody like Shelby, who had like body issues, even though I grew up in a predominantly white community, taking ballet classes, like when my boobs started growing, I was like, oh my God, my boobs are too big. Because for dance, they were too big.
Right.
They, even though they're not huge, but I think.
They look great.
Thanks. But I think that probably helped a lot in the fact that I was very independent as a child. And so I think that probably helped too. But yeah, I definitely, I'm happy that you said that, because I've heard the other side where people are like, oh, is she gay because she hasn't had sex? And I'm okay with that. Like, if you think I'm gay, I'm not homophobic, and I don't necessarily care. Like, I love all people.
Right.
All sexualities.
No, yeah, it didn't come off to me. You see,
Yeah.
and I wonder if, like, I think that's because I am sexual. Sometimes I didn't get offended, but I was confused as to why. And then I learned my aggression, and I learned
and being outspoken.
Right. And then it has to do, a lot of how it has to do with my experiences as well, where I had to be aggressive, where I had to put my guard up and I had to protect myself.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that's why I think it's so good that we have two different people on this show, so that people have not necessarily a role model, but maybe, perhaps an influence, or just understand that it's you can still be composed and you can still be respected. Yes,
Absolutely.
I have had sex, and yes, she hasn't, but
Right.
we're doing something like this, a podcast, and we're going towards our career choices, and we do demand respect from other people.
Yep.
But it's all a matter of who you are and making sure that you stay to that person.
Yes.
Which is what I do. I applaud all of these characters on the reality show.
I do
because
too. I think it's a hard thing to
good for you,
have the conversation about your sexual preference or talking about sex. Like, I love that Kiara is very like,
she's a virgin. She's like, it's not because I'm saving, it's just because I am for now. Like, good. Everyone goes through different experiences, and we see that clearly.
Yeah.
It's not for the same reasons. So
Yeah.
people need to like relax.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I love that his mom, I think you thought Alec's mom was like
I
mad.
thought she was angry because she didn't have any reaction.
Yeah.
I started crying when he came out because I could only imagine telling your family, and
What that's
because
like.
at that moment his life was going to be a different life.
Yeah.
He lived a straight life. That's so different. It's
Yeah.
just so different. And I remember my friend Jason, when he came out, he was telling me about it. My neighbor. And I was like, oh, we should try getting you on the show
Oh, that'd
because
be great.
he just recently
He
came
just
out.
recently came out?
And he's
Oh, wow.
28. He came out 26.
Okay.
And that's a long time.
That's a long time.
And he said that
Yeah.
I was always the person that I was. I was
Wow.
never, I was still me.
Right.
I'm like, so then people knew. He's like, I know, but you know what? That conversation was never brought up.
Yeah.
That's how in depth being in the closet is that regardless of people saying that you might be gay, no, please don't even bring that conversation up. I will avoid it. I will say no. I don't care.
Interesting too, because there are, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's being in LA. I don't know, but I know a couple of guys, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, so I don't know if that's an offensive thing to ask somebody. Like,
maybe not so much anymore. In any other place, like the Midwest, yes. Possibly, I don't know, on the East Coast. The reason why it's not here, again, I think Southern California, and specific Los Angeles,
is different.
It's because we're all I don't want to say artists, but we're creative people.
Yes.
We're here for a very specific reason.
Right.
All these men know it. That's why they are open to the idea, because a lot of them are actors and they're like, what does it matter? Because they see it as, they don't see it as a man kissing a man. They see it as like, oh, now I know what that is like, or now I have this experience, or now I can portray that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not in depth.
Yeah, but I think in the Black community, it's still like a tough conversation to have.
Jason's Black.
Yeah, so I would love to have him on the show, because there are a couple of guys. It's funny because one of my friends tried to introduce me to a guy, and she's like, oh, check him out on Facebook. And the minute I checked him out on Facebook, I was like, he's gay.
Yeah, I think it is in the
And
Black community.
wait, here's the thing. She actually told me like maybe 2 months after she tried to introduce me to him that he came out. And I was like, that is so interesting. But I think in the Black community, it's such a conversation, or it's something that we don't really like to admit. But I have several friends that I'm like, just be who you are. Like, if that's what you are. But even asking that question
is offensive. I know.
It's offensive to Black men.
Yeah,
like, it is like, that's like a no-no.
It's like an ego thing. But it's, you know what? It's too bad. And I agree, especially because like I have multiple Black friends where that they're the only reason why I know this is because I know the other person, specifically this one person, not here in Los Angeles, somewhere else. He was telling me how his man is straight. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean your man is straight, sweetheart? They're both Black, and he's like, no, like, well, because no one really knows, like, but I love him, like, this is the love of my life, like, we've been always like he loves fucking me, whatever. Wow. Excuse me, and then. The reason why I didn't get hurt by it, but it made me sad and oppressed. And I want to have my cake and eat it too. I met that person once. Him not knowing, because the other person told me, don't say anything because it's a secret. He got a girl, this and that.
Wow.
I was like, oh, what's up, baby? How you doing? Blah, blah. And he was like, how you doing, mommy? Like, checked me out. Hollered at me in front of him. Yeah, and that's a whole other conversation. To the point where had he not told me he was cute, and I would have been like, I would have maybe possibly talked to him. Yeah, because of the way he did it. And it sucks because it's like, you can't do that, because nobody cares if you're gay. They care if
you're dishonest.
If you're dishonest and you're like, oh my God, like that's huge. Yeah, it's you're just huge. Not who you are, and the safety issues, and like,
heck yes, like, the safety come on issues. Now. Yeah, totally. And I think that's what a lot of men who are struggling with their sexuality, that's something that they do, especially Black men. Like, they overcompensate. Like, let me sleep with a whole bunch of girls so nobody will know or even question my sexuality. But all the while, like your friend, I mean, I know that they have something, and that someone peeped it out once because of the way that they are to each other. Wow. And so, like, low key, I think that he does. I know he has feelings for this guy, because he looks out and he's always been around, and maybe it's something that he has there that he don't really have with females. Maybe he does like to have sex with both, but his heart is somewhere else. Yeah. But that's just unfortunate, because it's like he just had a kid too, and it's like. You know, what about your kids? Yes. They're like, I promise you, your kid won't care if you're gay, but if you're straight and then become gay, that's different, because they don't know who you are. And you don't know
and
who
you
you
lied.
are. Yeah.
And that means what else did you lie? And like, that's huge.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, so that's my opinion is just be honest and be who you are,
honest,
because people
right.
appreciate. And I agree. I don't care if you're gay, but I care if you're dishonest and
Yes.
being that guy
Ditto.
that's trying to date a whole lot of women, but really your heart is with
Some guy.
a guy, and that's okay.
And no one's gonna get mad at you about it.
No, yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's my soapbox. So the next subject we're going to talk about is actually kind of in this realm, open marriages.
I know two.
You know, too. Really?
One of them, I just found out that they were swingers. They seem to be perfectly cool. The other one, not necessarily open marriages, but they do things together. However, the most incredible love between a couple I've ever seen.
Really?
And they are so about each other. It's ridiculous. And they have trust for each other. But I hear that like prior to, or actually, no, yeah, during their marriage, like prior to me meeting them, like that they would swing, or that they would mess around with people and this and that. It's very comfortable. They're very comfortable with each other. And I think that, again, this has to do with communication. If you end up with someone that you're talking to them, that you let them know, then why? Because they know. So it's more like the only time that it would hurt is if they did something behind their backs.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the article that I read was by a novelist named Olivia Fain, and she was in an open marriage with a writer. And they got married at 22, and they drew up a contract stipulating the rules of taking lovers. And I think she was, isn't that interesting? So Adam was permitted, her husband was permitted one affair per year abroad for 2 weeks. Like, they were very specific. And she was allowed 10 kisses, I guess from 10 different men, and a 2-week affair every other year. I don't know how they came up with that. But they had 3 sons.
Because of how women and people think.
I don't know. I thought it was interesting, but I think she's British.
Are they still together?
No, they're not together, because I think he asked permission.
Fell in love.
Yeah, he fell in love. He asked permission to date. I think she was a doctor, and then they fell in love, and he divorced his wife. But he asked permission. I'm like, that is so bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like it's given into the cliche that men cheat all the time, but I believe that people cheat, because if men are cheating, who are they cheating with?
Yes, of course.
And so they're cheating with women. So I just think people just don't take their vows seriously. So the second time around, Olivia got married, and she was like, she wanted to do it right.
Well, I tried doing almost the same thing in my last relationship. Mm-hmm. My issue is that my person, he did kind of cheat. What I was doing was, I thought I was preventing that by being honest, and so that at least now I would be able to know. And I thought that if we were ever gonna make it, that, like, how do you stay with the same person? I was like, well, maybe something like that freshens up the relationship. Maybe that like, maybe when you are able and you have the freedom to do those things, you don't ever feel that feeling of claustrophobia or whatever,
like,
or like
trying to box you in.
Right, like someone's trying to box you in, and it almost creates room for you to love the other person. However, there will always be a person, maybe this person was doing it just so that she could keep him, or whatever the reason is, and then he found that amusing, because then he'd always have someone there. But what happens when you find someone who stands their ground, like this doctor probably, who was like, no, I won't do anything like that. But he loved her so much, okay, well, I'm willing to do that. And then she's like, oh my God, I could have had a closed marriage. This could have never happened had you just done that.
And I think
you really have to like trust each other and think about
the repercussions. Because I think it's interesting that you never know when someone turns, in the sense that there's a bigger attraction or a different kind of attraction for another person. And I think because they were so young, and she kind of like looked up to him because he was extremely smart. He was good with his words. I guess he was like wealthy, and
it was something creative.
Yeah, it was something creative. So I think she wanted to be smart, and not that she wasn't smart, but she kind of looked up to him for that. And then
I think it's how you accept it at such a young age. It's like, well, we're not trapped. I'm not doing something stupid. We're still experiencing and living life.
And that's exactly what she said.
Oh,
yeah.
I knew it. Yeah, of course. I did. That's where I was at also, kind of. Or that's what I attempted to.
Okay.
Doesn't work.
So it doesn't work. I don't think that it could ever work. I think it's interesting, but that's like the conversations that lots of people are having.
I think
on
it
lots
could
of
work
different shows.
if you're older, when you don't got.
You think? Because I feel like that's the time. Like, I have another friend, and his parents they've been married for 41 years. And now they're coming to this place where they're like, oh, I don't know if they're tired of each other, if they're not still having sex. I don't know. But now they're ready to get a divorce. And I'm like,
I hate hearing that because you know what
so
it
sad.
is? They've gotten to the point where they don't care. The happiness comes first.
Yeah.
A lot of them is because of their children.
Right.
And then other times it's like it really just got to that point, and it's one of those things where it hurts both of them. They must have gotten so comfortable and so distant from each other that they were finally able to say it, but without tears.
Yeah.
Like the divorce was able to happen easily. Like, why don't we go in and do it together? Why don't we file together?
Wow. But it feels like from hearing him talk that he's trying to help them work through it. Because I'm like, this is the time, like, you should be traveling with your spouse. You should be going on cruises. You should be playing golf.
But you're like, nope, I mean, I don't want to call it selfishness, but it's like, no, I did that for the whole first part of my life. It was a whole life thing though, not half of your life. And sorry, that person did the equally thing. Like, that's the thing about a lot of people in marriages or even relationships. When you're committed to someone, you have to remember it's not just you.
Yeah.
You've made the decision to think about both of you all the time.
Yeah.
And that's where some people like fall out. Like some men want to be like, no, but I'm still my own. No.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hold you down. It's just like, be respectful, because when we made this decision, that's what that means. That's what marriage is.
Yep.
If you didn't want to be married, then you should have told me that.
Yeah.
And then you could have felt all these types of ways, and then we could have just broken up. But that's not the case.
Right.
We're married, so now we're allowed to work on it.
Yeah.
We're allowed to cheat on each other and stay together because we're married.
Right.
You know?
That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation.
Cheat on each other while we're married. So
no, but I'm saying where it's an issue, go to therapy and stay. No one's going to get mad at you for that.
I got you. Yeah.
Where if you're in a relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend, they're like, drop his ass. You're not married to him.
Right. That's true. But I think people enter marriages sometimes too with that kind of philosophy, not knowing that marriages take work, just like friendships take work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everything takes a lot of compromise too. And somebody said, I think in a relationship, if you think more for the other person, about the other person, and giving more to the other person, then that's when the relationship works.
I imagine so.
Yeah. That's just my little... Okay, so I was watching a couple of different shows. Like, I watch a lot of reality television shows. And so I don't know if it's like a slang thing, like a hashtag, but there are a couple of phrases
that are
I'm feeling some kind of way.
Oh, I'm feeling some kind
I'm feeling some kind of way. I even heard a talk show host say that, and I was like, really? You're feeling some kind of way? What way are you feeling? Can you use an adjective? Can you buy a verb? Like, say what you mean.
I think maybe if they presented it, I'm feeling something that I cannot identify right now.
Now that would make more sense to me, but I'm feeling some kind of way. Like, are you angry? Are you mad? Are you sad? Are you happy? Are you horny?
Shut up. You don't even know what you're feeling, so why are you even talking about it?
Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's another one. You know what I'm saying?
I think I say that. And
No,
I know
I'm
no
sure
one
I do
understands
too.
me.
Yeah.
I know no one knows what I'm saying, but I'm saying it anyways.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then, so on another show, I think it was Atlanta X's, she said, kill yourself. Tori Hart was saying that a lot. And I think in the climate that we live in, when there are so many people that take their lives, like, that's not a word that you should say. Kill yourself. Like, I'm very cautious about, like, the words, because your words have power. Like, even when I've changed my words and saying you could kill two birds with one stone. Now I say you could save two birds with one hand, or two hands. Like, we have such a comfortable, like, we're so comfortable with violence. Like, kill yourself. She was saying jump in a casket.
Yeah.
I know she didn't say it on this show, but that's
Like when people are doing too much.
Yeah, like, to me that's too much. You should never say kill yourself, because some people, and I thought it was interesting that Tamika Usher Raymond's, I know we're talking about a whole other show, but this is phrases that make no sense to me, and that's one of them. But she said, I actually have thought about that. So you never know who you're talking to.
You can't. A perfect example is the other night, someone was joking about a diet, and they're like, oh yeah, I have a great diet for you. And like talking about bulimia, and like we were laughing. I've never had that issue in my life.
Right.
However, I could not believe that when he said that. I mean, I laughed too.
Right.
I did. I laughed
Right.
because I was being courteous, I guess.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But instantly I just was like,
You were
that kind of
convicted.
sucks.
Yeah.
I was like, that sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny, but we shouldn't say that because
You never know.
that's very common in a lot of females.
Yeah.
A lot of females.
Yeah.
And I didn't get offended, but it brought me back that I was like, oh, I can't believe how like cautious I was to think about it. Like, okay. And then like I made sure that we changed the subject.
Yeah, and that's good because maybe
Because it's like, oh, guys, be careful because they're like the girl, like there was a bunch of girls that I was like, she probably does it. She probably does it. She probably,
You do
know,
it.
Shelby did it. Like,
Right.
You know,
Shelby on the show.
Shelby on the show. Like you
Yeah.
have to be careful, and it needs to be more sensitive.
Yeah. And I think we're so insensitive because even speaking about, Robin Williams, like that broke my heart. And
Yeah, 'cause
his daughter actually got off of Twitter because people were saying mean things about her dad. And I'm like, how could you say anything mean about someone who's lost their dad?
People are so weird.
and
So weird.
Yeah, it made me sad. So to hear somebody say kill yourself when I was just like, wow. Like that's too much.
I've always wanted to answer my phone and be like, "Hey,
Hey,
I'm doing my podcast right now. I'm not going to.
I can't talk to you.
I can't. Hey, I'm live right now.
Put them on speaker and be like, say something.
No.
Talk to the people. We're not gonna do that. So
Are you having sex right now? Are you a virgin? No.
Caller. What's
Caller.
your name? Where are you from? Yeah, no, that'd be cool. I think
it's true. And I've always been a person who's been very comfortable, like, to talk about things.
Yeah.
But I got tired of myself.
Really?
Check
Talking?
yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
No, it's a matter of being proper. And a lot of this came with the whole
Hashtags.
No, people not being able to identify my sexuality and stuff.
Really?
It made me, I mean, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being a lesbian or anything like that.
Ambiguous. Yeah, no, there's totally nothing wrong with it.
But the way that people say, no, but that's you. I do feel like, I remember my parents saying, you were never this aggressive. And it wasn't until your last relationship that you became this way.
That's interesting.
And so I'm like, oh, I have to. And I try to pride myself in not getting offended in constructive criticism or anything that anyone has to say because it possibly echoes the truth, whether it's true or not. Always take it. When there was rumors about me. There's rumors about me. Why? For a specific reason. There was something that I was doing. Why don't you? People need to think about what they're doing first before attacking the other person.
That's true.
That way if you're going to be mad or not, or whether it's true or not.
Yeah.
And I think it's like we do need to be a little bit more delicate with what we say. I
Yeah.
try not to curse at all, like on after. We're not supposed to, but like we do.
You can't help
but I
it.
try not to.
Right.
And even in conversation because I curse like a sailor.
Right.
How ugly is that? But it is what it is.
It is what it is. You're Latina. It's passion.
Soy Latina. I can help it. I can help
You
it.
can help it.
No.
That's not a good Latina accent. I need to work
Is
on
it?
that.
Oh, I'm like,
saying for me. No, mine is not good at all. But yeah, I totally agree with you that there are things that I think we're so desensitized to just.
We are, absolutely.
Yeah, like everything is in your face. Sex is in your face. Profanity is in your face. Like everything is so in your face that we don't really take into account how somebody else might feel about certain things. And even what you just said something about, I can't think of what you just said. You said listening to people's rumors or people saying things about you. I think in that you have to be conscious about who is saying that, because some people are malicious.
Right, exactly. Like someone who would say anything about Robin Williams, I'm like, wow, you're bored and you probably live in the middle of nowhere. With nothing to do.
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry. Why don't you enjoy probably the beautiful nature that is around you? Like, get on that. Because oh my God, whatever.
And then people hide behind social media so
sure
much.
do.
They hide behind fake pages, fake whatever. And
Catfishing, like, get out.
Yeah, like that's
sad.
a whole other thing. So I think you have to be careful about who's saying what, and like keep your intimate friends, and those are the people that you listen to when it comes to rumors. Like,
Absolutely.
I think everybody needs at least one good friend to be like, you know what, right now your breath stinks.
Yes, exactly.
Right now you have a booger in your nose.
Yes.
Right now your body odor is kicking.
Yes.
But those are people you could take that stuff from and be like, okay.
Which is true,
I get
because
it.
when someone tried to approach me with a rumor that was said, I mean, everyone was like, I think they expected me to have like a dramatic reaction.
To be aggressive and
to be like, or like upset.
Right.
I wasn't, because an honest man has nothing to fear,
Yeah,
right? I know what I
absolutely.
did and I know what I didn't
Yep.
do. But the person who came up to me, I remember when she was just trying to say like, but I was trying to help you. I'm like, no, sweetheart. The difference is that I started working here and you didn't like me.
Period.
In fact, you made it clear that you didn't like
Right.
me. And when
normally
you come
that's
out, when you come at me though, telling me these things, I'm not going to take it a good way because your intentions weren't good.
Yeah.
You were almost probably excited to tell me because you're like, good, let me get this to shut up.
Right.
And it's like that. So it's like who you take it from. And you have to think about, especially when people want to help other people, are you in the position to help that person?
Right.
When you saw someone cheat on that person, if you don't know that person, don't tell them why, because it's going to come off differently. Like,
Right.
are you close enough to say it?
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I totally agree that sometimes you have to be cautious about who's telling you what, and if they're not really close to you. And your definition of closeness depends on time. It depends on your experience with that person.
Exactly. Everything that you've done together.
Yeah, that you've done together. So that makes all the difference in the world. So, Sexiest Virgins. We have one last
thing, and then
sexy
we're done.
virgin. Yeah, then we're
And
done. We'll move on. Kirk Cameron. I really like him. Do we have a picture? There he is.
Oh yeah, I remember all that.
Yes,
But they met on Growing Pains and
They
they got
met
married.
on
And they're
Growing
Christian. They're
Pains.
really good, like practicing Christians.
Yes, and he had a movie that, like, I thought it was so interesting how he did this movie. Like, I think he didn't put it in theaters. He did like maybe one theater, but he got so many hits. It was trending on Twitter. I was like, all right, Kirk, I'm pretty impressed with you.
Nice.
He's a virgin, but yeah. He was a virgin till marriage,
Right,
so
I know.
he's not a virgin anymore, but that's okay. I think he's got kids, so that's
Yeah.
great. So, yeah, that's pretty much AfterBuzz TV, MTV Virgin Territory.
Our
and
sex talk.
Our sex talk. Yeah, we talked about sex and love, relationships, condoms, gonorrhea, chlamydia. We talked about it all.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, yes, pretty much.
Wrap it up or make that wrap go inside or something like that. Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out and make sure you have a tip on the condom.
The tip on the condom.
Yeah, she said for the
Wrap it
ejaculation.
up. It's
to
for
go.
everybody, not just me. I'll look in my camera mirror. Stephanie, remember, wrap it up.
You're going to remind yourself. So I'm Madison Chase, and you can find me at madisonchasefitness.com. That's my website. My Instagram page is Madison Chase Fitness, and my Facebook is Madison Chase Fitness, and Twitter is Madison Chase Fit, Pinterest is Madison Chase Fit, and YouTube is One Mad Chase.
So many. I know. You had to read them.
I did.
You can find me on Twitter at Stephanie Giorgi, Giorgi, as well as on Vine at Stephanie Giorgi, and on Instagram at Steffi with a Y, G47. Mwah.
Yes, and please check us out on YouTube, and if you have questions, and iTunes
and
too,
iTunes,
right?
rate us, comment us,
please leave a
search
comment.
us,
and ask questions.
ask questions. We'll answer.
We'll definitely answer. Thank you, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.